Hello, this is Jim Hogue, and this is Family Answers Podcast. Podcast number 5493. No, actually not. This is the podcast number 1. Jim Hogue, a marriage family therapist. I have been in the field a long time, about to complete 40 years. Occasionally I have helped people, and the purpose of this podcast daily is to be assistance to men and women on the topic of family and marriage. Do you know that we men were not born knowing how to love a woman? And also, there are many women that do not receive love well. What is the reason this is so? How does it affect the relationship, marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, children later? Well, hearts are broken, misunderstandings. I tell you, that need not be so. But do not expect that a man must think the way a woman does, and do not expect that a woman must think the way a man does. There is something I've said for years. When a man marries a woman and sets out on the roller coaster adventure of trying to love one woman, when he proceeds to love her, she will not necessarily believe when he tells her, "Honey, I love you." Why is this? Because when a man marries a woman, he is going to suffer all that men have done to her badly, starting with her father. Every abuse, insult, sexual abuse, and how she was taken advantage. Yes, even the lady that grew up as a girl with a hope chest, that spent hours thinking of when she would marry, find love, and have children. But why is this? I will be telling you many principles. Spend mornings, afternoons, listening to these podcasts, these daily podcasts. Then write in Facebook, Twitter, email. Offer me your thoughts. Ask questions. I will say it again. We men were not born knowing how to love a woman. And yes, part of it is because we have a different brain that is linear. But remember this, where does a boy learn to love a woman? Where does a boy learn to love a woman in his future? It's by following the model of how his father loved his mother. Following the model in the presence of dad loving that boy's mother. Wow, does that not open a Pandora's box? Do you see where we're going? Do you see where we're just going to start? Many of us men did not have fathers. Some of us men, when we were young, had fathers, but the father wasn't in the home even though he was there. And how does a woman learn to receive love when given to her by this one man? I am telling you, the healthy bond first with her father is vital. I have heard this from so many women. I can even walk through a crowd of people and have a sense of which woman had a good bond with their father and which one did not. One young woman in my office recently looked around and then she said, "Jim, I don't know what love is." I said to her, "You don't have to know what love is. If a man loves you and knows how to do so, there are 2 things that he will do for you. One is give you a marriage where you have the freedom to speak. And second, each time he approaches you, he will approach you gently and with the sensitivity that you deserve, so then you can thrive and function as a wife and as a mother. Then you will know what love is." But how are men to do that? I must tell you, it is very confusing. I know I am a man. Much of what's being taught to us fails. It actually sets us up to fail. I have seen it and I have heard of this. A man gets off work, drives home, thinking of his wife, looking forward to an evening of happiness with his family. He pulls up in the driveway, turns off the ignition. Suddenly, he feels a strange ache in his stomach, and he senses somehow this is not going to be a good night. He feels no matter what he will say, no matter what he will do, his wife will be upset, judge him, and he will fail. I tell you, there are ways that a man can listen to his wife, and she will say he's a wonderful communicator, but it is different than what is being told men and what men think. All right, more in the future. Look on this video and the information beside it for addresses of Facebook, email, and Twitter. Offer your thoughts and questions. I will use some of them in future podcasts. Finally, look out for the next episode of Family Answers Podcast.